Hello, this is Ezra Tillman, and this is my instructional design plan. The context of my instructional design plan is as follows. It will be for my 6th grade world geography class, which also includes history, and I teach at the Tome School, which is a private college preparatory school in Maryland. The need I identified for my geography students is improved map reading skills. Map reading skills aid visualization, both in learning about other locations and also learning about historical events in those locations. Also, I want my students to be able to create their own knowledge, make their own new discoveries by comparing different maps of the same location and maps from around the world. So my instructional goal is the following. I want 85% of 6th grade geography students at the Tome School to achieve 85% or above on the summative map assessment by correctly using map reading skills to combine information from multiple map types to discover previously unknown information. So, how am I going to do this? Well, this is my goal analysis diagram, and this helped me break down the goal into its component parts. So, there are two major parts of this. First, just the map reading skills. So, teaching the students how to use a scale, know about latitude and longitude coordinates, about using the map compass, etc. And then the students can use those reading skills to do the second and bigger part, which is to combine information from multiple map types to discover previously unknown information. And that previously unknown information is in large part how elements from different map types affect each other, and then by using this, they can look at maps from around the world after they create some general rules. So they see, oh, this is how this affects that. So how the physical landscape of an area affects where people live, affects the climate, how the climate affects where people live, etc. All these different elements interact with each other. And I want students to be able to analyze those things and to come up with general rules. This is generally, if you look around the world, this population is affected by climate in this way, or climate is affected by elevation in this way, etc. So in order to do that, the first step of that is to get students comparing different map types of the same location. So in the previous slide, I had 4 different map types of most of the United States, and the students will make out a list of rules where they think, okay, it's generally people in this don't like to live in this altitude, or this climate region has fewer of this type of plant, or etc. So they'll make a list of rules. Some of them might not be completely accurate. Some of them might be right on the spot. To make sure, they will then compare what they have induced so far with different map types of different locations. So they'll say, okay, look at different map types of South America or Africa or Asia, Europe, etc. And they'll see any of those rules from the United States follow the same structure in other areas around the world. Some of them will, some of them won't. They'll get rid of the rules that didn't really hold true around the world, and they'll keep the ones that did. And so finally, they'll have a list that they generated of rules that generally work around the world. So they can look at a map of any location basically and say, all right, this is most likely how things are going to work out. Okay, I see the climate is this, therefore most people will probably live here or there or won't be people, etc. So that's what I'm looking for. My instructional strategy and the general flow of most of my classes will be as follows. First, I'll have a teacher demonstration. I will demonstrate to the students how to do a certain skill. Then the students will work in groups to practice this skill. That way the students can help each other, can learn from each other, and support each other. Then to make sure each student in the group really understands and have the students work individually to achieve the same goal as well. Finally, we'll all come back together as a class to check and correct any of their work. And of course, throughout the group practice, the individual practice, I, as the teacher, will be circulating around to talk to students, see if they need help, answer questions, etc. Summative assessment, where they put all this together, will have two parts. The first part is just normal map reading skills, so they'll have to identify locations using latitude and longitude coordinates, or they'll have to say what the different symbols on the map mean using the map key or legend. And then the second part will be comparing maps from different map types of one location, a new location they haven't seen before, and then inducing some rules. So going through, say, okay, is this how this is affecting that, etc. To see whether they have internalized that and they can do that for new locations. To find out whether I was successful with my plan, I will get feedback from the students both during and after the instruction. Be going out talking to them, but the students will also have to write in a journal during and after to say, I was confused about this, oh, I really got this quickly, we could have spent less time on that, etc. Then, of course, I will also be reflecting on the process during and after, and writing in a journal and keeping my thoughts and observations down to help me improve for next time. And that, of course, that picture is exactly how I look anytime I'm reflecting on anything I teach. I have to put on that little robe and grow my beard out a little more and get a staff. And of course, finally, the summative assessment. If 85% of my students get 85% or above on the summative assessment, I'll know if I've achieved my goal, because that's part of my goal. And finally, what I've learned. I've learned I can identify a specific problem and create a really detailed plan. I do this, of course, we all do this as teachers, but to do this on such a detailed and well thought out way is not something I've done so much before. Since it's such a big thing, I've learned that you really need to do this during the summer, and I am taking this as a summer class, so I realized I really need that time because it's difficult to do that during the year. And the fact that I can do this, the fact that I've been able to make this is something that helps me, gives me the confidence to go ahead and say I can do this again when I identify new problems in the future. So this has been a great class. I've enjoyed working with everyone, and I hope you have a great new school year.